everybody. This is Michael Bryson for This is Bodybuilding, the podcast series. And I want to welcome my special guest today, the classical queen herself, Alyssa Kiessling. Alyssa, hey, how's it going?
What's up, Michael?
Not much. How you feeling today?
I feel great. Awesome. I'm in the sunshine state of Florida.
It's awesome. I'm in Texas. It's a great place to be. I'm so much better off than I was when I was in New York City. Do you like Florida a lot?
I do. It's my natural habitat.
It's awesome. So let's just kick things off right away with talking about your plans for this season. What's up?
So I guess I should start by saying I have a new coach. So that has introduced me into the new season of 2021. So I'm working with Hyacinth next year, and we are going to do the New York Pro, and it's now 8 weeks and 4 days, I believe. So we're 8 weeks, 4 days out from the New York Pro.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Just over 2 months. That's pretty exciting. This is your first, you turned pro in 2019? 2018. Junior Nationals or Junior USA's? Nationals. Yeah. So what was your thinking in terms of holding off and waiting till now to compete?
So, I mean, chronologically, I got hit with a hurricane a couple months after I turned pro. I was displaced. I was down in South Florida, in Tampa, St. Petersburg area. And then I got into a relationship and I moved out to Texas for a couple years. I did take the year off of 2019, and that was just by choice. Life situations happen. And then at the beginning of 2021, I was getting ready for the season ahead, which ended up never really happening early on in 2020. So once the show started getting pushed back, I was going to do, the St. Louis Pro, the Boston Pro started getting postponed and canceled. I just kind of went into a full off season, more so what I would say a real off season. And then I ended up getting on stage at the Steve Kuklo Classic in September, which was actually the same weekend as my birthday. So I got on stage as a guest appearance and saw what I had built, basically. So yeah. I just kind of, I got hit with the hurricane, I moved, I got in a relationship, and then I did get ready, but no shows happened. And now I'm in the point where I'm ready to go now. So yeah. I'm ready.
That's awesome. Ready. Life happens, right? So things, you can make plans and then things happen. There's no telling what's going to happen during the course of a season. And no one saw COVID coming for sure, or the hurricane. So
yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, you looked amazing at the Steve Kuklo Classic.
Thank you.
You saw a huge transformation in yourself in terms of the additional size that you've added from when you turned pro.
Mm-hmm. I was probably weighing about 100. I kind of peaked a little bit just so I could be a little bit leaner, I guess, tighter on stage. And I did a little peaking for that. And I maybe weighed around 127 to 130 on stage. In comparisons to when I turned pro, I weighed morning of, I believe I saw 111 the morning that I turned pro. So on stage, carved up maybe close to 115. So I put on 15, 20 pounds, give or take how much water or food I'm carving up on.
You're looking pretty lean now already from things I've seen on Instagram and things that you've shared. Looking really on course to do well for the show.
Yeah, I'm getting there. It's getting to I can tell my body's morphing, and what's crazy is not much is changing as far as diet and training and supplements. So it's like my body knows almost. So you're right. I'm leaning out, but what's cool is I'm leaning out and my weight's not really dropping.
What are you weighing like this morning or most recently?
I carved up last night from sushi. I had 5 rolls, which is about 30 pieces of sushi, and I probably could have ate 5 more, to be honest. I woke up at 127.2.
Okay. And you're 5 foot tall, 5'1"?
Yeah, between 5 and 5'1".
Okay. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So New York Pro, a big show. It's a big show to be making your debut. It's pretty exciting. But it's in Tampa, or it's in Tampa, right?
It is in Tampa, yes. But honestly, Michael, now that I'm back home in Florida, my perspective and mindset on these shows, I'm so used to competing and driving. I did the Orlando Europa twice, back to back. So that's kind of like my comfort zone. So I don't feel like, oh, it's the New York Pro. I just feel like I'm going to another show down south and doing my best, and I'm giving it everything I got in training and sticking to the diet. And I'm just going down south this will be my third time competing down in, well, Tampa's new, but I've been in Orlando a couple times. Right. So I'm just familiar with the area. I have family down there. I was down in Tampa right after the hurricane, so I know the gyms like MI40 and Fam Tampa, Powerhouse. I'm just familiar with the area, and I feel super comfortable in where I'm at right now. It's just, I'm in a good spot, really, really good spot right now.
Awesome. Yeah, I just found out yesterday, you told me that you're doing the show as we were making plans to do this. And the only other person that I know that is doing the show is the current champion of the New York Pro, Rachel Daniels. You were talking just a little bit ago how you don't really think about the people who you're competing against. Mm-hmm. It's more about yourself.
Yeah, it's always been like that. Bodybuilding for me has always been it's a self journey. It's for me a spiritual journey. And if anything, I look to the other competitors for inspiration. I don't go out looking and searching. Honestly, the women's divisions aren't even my interest. We have personal conversations. I like men's open. I like classic. I like the men's division. So that's what catches my interest. And so I don't necessarily say I pay attention to the women's division, but I saw Rachel Daniels turn pro last year, and I congratulated her because you know what? She looked awesome. She won the New York Pro, looked awesome. If I could come in with shredded glutes like that, I'd be happy. And I congratulate her because that's a really good defeat. She's almost like the women's Derek Lunsford in a sense, turn pro, right. Win a pro show, straight to the Olympia, and does well at the Olympia too. So, that's really cool. I'm excited to compete against her. And honestly, I'm excited to see what I just look like next to other girls.
Right.
At this point, I've been training and eating, and it's been 3 years since I've competed for real. And I just want to see what I look like next to these other girls.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. It's exciting for me as someone who has been a fan of yours from, I don't know,
the start.
Yeah, I think the first time I saw you was a video you were doing. It's a black and white training video. You had a hoodie on. I couldn't even tell your physique. I was like, but you were following me. And I was like, I realized that you were following me. I was like, oh, let me follow this girl. And then you posted that video of you doing a posing routine to that Khalid song. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was it blew my mind. Amazing.
Yeah,
amazing
and you reposted it, and then Flex Wheeler reposted it. And then Flex Wheeler ends up calling me while I'm eating meal 3 in the middle of prep. Like, it's just crazy, right? Yeah. That's just how like my whole bodybuilding journey has been. I'm not doing it for attention. I'm not doing it for clout or nothing. I'm just doing it because I love it. And then everything just comes, it attracts the goodness for you. Like Flex, the phone call from Flex, just everything chronologically.
So yeah, I've been a fan since the beginning, and your artistry speaks for itself in terms of your posing is amazing. So it's going to be exciting for me to finally see you next to other pros and see how your physique measures up. Mm-hmm. But I have a feeling it's going to measure up very, very well. I'm excited for it.
I hope so.
I'm going to try to do whatever I can to get to the New York Pro this year for sure.
I hope you can make it out because, we have yet to meet too. So
yes.
We still have that first official meeting to get checked off. And hopefully it's at the New York Pro and not at the Olympia.
Right. Well, that'll be the second time. We'll be the Olympia.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So like for you, in terms of your journey to get where you are, what would you say was the beginning point for you when you realized bodybuilding was the road?
I'll stick with just bodybuilding specifically. It was high school, I have to say, because my high school weightlifting coach, his name's Thomas Ray. He was a bodybuilder, a competitive one, and did great. He wasn't huge or nothing, but he did great. Good condition, symmetry, all that. So when I was in high school, he trained me to win state, but he trained me as a bodybuilder along the way. So once I graduated,
you were doing powerlifting, yes?
Correct.
Okay.
But when we would have like spring break or summer break, I had a gym membership at Anytime Fitness, and he gave me like basically what they call a bro split, and I just went in and trained like a bro. And because I didn't want to just do bench press and clean and jerks. I wanted to do curls and extensions and, you know, all the accessories, bodybuilder type stuff. So he kind of guided me, but then he basically did mold me, but I ran with it. You know, I did my own diet in high school, which I ate the same stuff like a bodybuilder does. I basically developed myself as a bodybuilder in high school. And as I've just gotten older, I've just had to deal with like the obstacles of life, of, you know, being 21 years old and partying and just going out and trying to wake up and do my car, like just life in general, relationships and all that. So just, it started from high school, but then I just took it a step further. And instead of doing college sports, I just signed up for a bodybuilding show. I hired a coach. Her name was Jenny Rodriguez. And 6 months later, I competed. And that was it. I was hooked. So 2014.
What was your main attraction to bodybuilding? Was it seeing your body change, or was it the posing?
I would say it's an initial attraction of just the musculature, because like even when I was a child, I loved WWE and WWF, and you know, all the more muscular wrestlers like The Rock and Big Papa Pump, and you know, the bigger guys, Triple H. That's just what I like, the V-taper, just the roundness, the fullness, and that something about it. And even the wrestlers back in the day, when they do their, you know, they come out into the ring and they do their kind of entrance thing and they stand on the turnbuckle and they just hold whatever. To me, that's a pose. And I guess that's kind of where I divulged my style, but I also was a skateboarder, and skateboarding is flow. But I have the WWE and the skateboarding. I honestly just kind of molded those two together, and that's what developed the classical queen's style, is because I like the more, I guess you could say, masculine posing, but the skateboarding comes in with the flow. So even in skateboarding, when you would make a video of yourself, you want to get like a cool picture of you in action, like mid-trick, but that you could tell when people have a flow, which is they call it a style, and you could just tell in pictures, and I had that style. And so whenever I'm on stage and I pose, like the lean backside tricep, like that's almost a skateboarding trick in a sense. If you skateboard, you could kind of know what I'm talking about, but it's just wrestling and skateboarding into two.
That's awesome.
It's funny. It's weird though. It's a weird combo.
Yeah, but it makes sense. It makes sense in a big way. Like I don't know how many professional bodybuilders I've spoken to, like older guys who've been around for a long time, who professional wrestling was more of the initial attraction for them, because you don't see on TV Mr. Olympia every day, right? You know, but you could see back in the 80s, you could see Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior and the Road Warriors. You can see these people on TV every day, and that inspired a lot of guys to start to work out and try to be bigger. So it's interesting that was also what attracted you. And I can see how the movement of skateboarding flows into your flow, because that's the thing about your posing, is you have like such amazing flow from one thing into the next, and it all makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah. Were there bodybuilders of the past that influenced your posing style?
You know, honestly, I do like the old school guys, but I can't say that's who I looked up to when I got into the sport. When I got into the sport, I hired who I looked up to, and that was Santi Aragon. I feel like he's very similar to me. Height, size, density, posing.
Yeah, the muscle bellies.
I replicated basically me off of him. And then I used him as a prep coach in 2017. And that's just when I kind of found who the classical queen really was. So I owe a lot to Santi as well.
That's awesome. Yeah. Are there any other people from the current crew of bodybuilders that you kind of, I know you don't necessarily take anything from people, but people who you respect as posers these days?
Of course, Terrence Ruffin. Of course, Terrence. Man, Terrence is amazing. I'm honestly a huge fan of Zane Watson.
Oh yeah, Zane's amazing.
Yes, he's
amazing poser.
Mm-hmm. I'm not like Terrence. I've seen Terrence from the start since 2014. I watched him compete as an amateur. We competed together. He has a different style. It's styles. Like Terrence is gorgeous on stage. Everything is boom, pose after pose to transition. Everything flows with the music, and he does so many different types. But Zane presents a different. He's presenting the pose and kind of showing you how to pose the pose, if that makes sense, like how to set it up and pose it. And he gets all hard and vascular while he's posing. It's more slow and eccentric. So it's a whole different style, but I love that style. And
Yeah, he's
And I mean, I just focus on myself so much now that I'm not really looking out. But when I do look out, I'll go straight to the old school guys, like the 70s, or I'm sorry, the 80s and the 90s, like Levrone, Sean Ray. I love Sean Ray. His posing on stage, amazing. So
yeah,
can't
those
deny
guys
that.
What's that?
I said you can't deny that.
No, they were amazing. The best. Those two guys, and Levrone and Wheeler, great posing artists.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, Zane's pretty incredible. I saw him at one of the New York pros. I can't remember what year it was. It was him and
He was in
who won. I think Sean Clarito won the show, and he was second, if I'm recalling this correctly. But anyway, amazing posing artist.
Yeah, I can remember specifically one of Zane's routines. It was recorded like on a real good camera, and it's posted on his page. But it's like the music's real slow and dramatic, and you can hear the cameras clicking, and just that posing it's amazing. It's amazing. I'm probably going back to that to help me with my posing routine.
Oh yeah. Do you have something?
I don't even have a song for the show. I don't have a routine for the show, but that's how life is going for me right now.
Right. Do you really need a whole lot of time to work on a song? I didn't think so. Yeah.
The song that I actually used at the Dallas, the guest posing that I did in Dallas, I've been listening to that song for the past 5-6 years, and that song comes from my best friend back when I used to skateboard. I'm still best friends with my best friend, Dale. He showed me that song. He has nothing to do with bodybuilding. It's just a cool song that we'd be driving around like jamming out to, and I was like, dude, this is a good posing song. I'm gonna use it. And I used it. So when I got to Steve's show, Steve was like, do you have a song? I was like, I was a little unprepared. I was like, no, but I know this one, so we'll use it. And that's what I used.
It's amazing. That routine was great.
Thank you.
You just feel the music, or what is it? How does it, you just connect to the music?
Yeah, I've listened to the songs so many times, and I use them as practice. I pose to music just because I don't like to pose to no music. I like music. I love music. So I'll pose to music, and that'll be one of the songs that I just kind of practice to. I have a few like that, a handful, and that's just the one that I know, like I know the beats, I know the lyrics, so I can kind of mouth some of the lyrics while I'm doing the routine, which adds to the routine sometimes.
Yeah, I like to do that. I do. Not the whole song, but moments.
Right, just like maybe just a couple words and that's it.
Actually, in that first video that I posted of you, you did it for a second, a moment in that song. I was like, damn, she's good. Like you were so connected to it. And it reminded me of people like Vince Taylor would do that. Another great posing artist from the past. So yeah, that's awesome stuff. Kevin Levrone, I spoke to Kevin Levrone a few months ago on the phone. It was a really weird situation. A friend of mine had just befriended Kevin Levrone, and he called me in like a three-way call, and we started talking, and Kevin was like, Michael, what's your phone number? I'm going to call you back. And he did. And it ended up being this really strange call where he was calling. He put Ronnie Coleman on the phone with me, then a three-way call, then it was Flex Wheeler, Sean Ray, all these. It was like I was speaking to all the legends. It was pretty amazing. But anyway, Kevin Levrone. What's that?
I was at a conference call.
Yeah, it was bizarre. Like I couldn't believe I had this experience, which was awesome. But anyway, there's more to it. But Kevin said that he never really practiced his posing routines that you saw on the Olympia stage. Like even 2002, that song, he did a Creed song. Who's Got My Back Now or something? I forget the name of the song, but anyway, it's an amazing routine. Miss Harley.
Yeah, that's my baby.
But he would not rehearse to the song. He knew the songs and he would just connect to it on stage. So what we would see on stage, which seemed like an amazing planned routine, was all from improvisation from his heart.
And I honestly think that's how routines turn out more legendary. And maybe like Terrence, I'm sure Terrence has everything planned out because he's always on point with his like choreography. But for me and like Kevin, like sometimes you just got to let it happen. When you start overthinking and you're like, oh, I missed a pose, and you got to have a certain thing, it kind of stresses you out. For me, it does. So whenever I drop what stresses me out and I just let it happen on stage, and whatever happens, happens. I know how to show my physique. I practice posing so much. That's honestly that is my job, is posing with clients and stuff. So I know just what goes where. Now, what I do need to do is, there's certain poses, like even in my guest routine, there was stuff I wanted to hit that I didn't hit. So that's what you got to prioritize, is just make sure that your
best pose. Yeah. I think that's interesting. Like, I'm a musician too, and I'm not a great guitarist or anything, but I know people who are great guitarists, and some of them are guys who just improvise, they feel it in the moment and they can play it amazingly well. But other guys or gals have to practice that thing that they're going to do. And you wouldn't be able to tell the difference, at least most people couldn't. If you saw both these people play on stage, what kind of technique or how they do their thing, because perfection just happens either way. So it's what works for the individual, I guess.
Yeah.
Some people have to be ultra rehearsed, and that's fine. That's what works for them. And other people like yourself can just flow with it.
Yeah, honestly, I've been thinking, I only know one other person that's done this, and I'm not doing it because of the reason that they did it, but I thought about posing to no music.
Yeah.
That's something different. That's what James Hollingshead did. And he had a certain reason for it. But for me, it's like, if I can't find that song, I'm going to go out with no music, because that's just what my soul feels.
Right. What show did James do that in?
I want to say the Romania last year.
Okay, this best. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know that. I'm gonna have to Google that and look. Or YouTube it, see if I can find it.
Yeah, check it out.
I like James. He's very good.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Yeah, him and we talk back and forth. I sent him some pictures of what I'm looking like, and he's like, getting denser. And that's what I need, is the density.
Yes.
At least for the pro stage.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. With posing, you're also coaching people. Are you coaching any pros?
Currently, no. But I have worked with a few pros.
Okay.
Off the top of my head, I can only think of one, and I don't know why, but Jason Martinez is a pro classic physique guy. I worked with him in person. I worked with Mike Lacombe. He just turned pro at Nationals last year in 2020. He is a light heavyweight bodybuilder. I've worked with
Jason Lowe, or no?
Yeah, I've helped. I don't want to say I've worked with him, but him and we go back and forth. I mean, there's so many. So many pros, and I've posed with Terrence and Derek Goslin and Jason Lowe, and I mean, I've been posed by Derek Lunsford. I've posed with a lot of, I can't say but I have specifically helped Jason Martinez and Michael Lacombe with their posing in person.
Cool.
Yeah.
So talking about coaches and coaching, what's been you've had some changes in terms of coaches. Who have been your coaches through the years? So,
like I said, when I first got into it, my first prep was by a local coach. Her name was Jenny Rodriguez. I then moved on to Santi Aragon in 2017. And then in 2018, I turned pro under Tuna Sauce. His name's Fam, but yeah. Tuna, his nickname. So Tuna helped me turn pro. I'm super thankful and appreciative for his help and guidance up until I have began working with Hyacinth Nasir about 10 weeks ago. I've been working with him. So I've just switched over to a new coach. Hyason's actually not even in the States. He's across like in France or Denmark, that area. We talk over WhatsApp. It's straight business, but that's how I work. I don't need an in-person coach. Like me and Santi, we did everything. Actually, we prepped through Instagram DMs. We did get to text and all that, but like that's how I function. Like I'm back home in my like what I'm used to doing, you know? So me and Hyason have a good thing going. I know he's actually like, he goes to bed when I'm working out in the middle of the day. And so I've learned his schedule. He learns mine. We just have a good thing going. So
with your coaches, it's mostly they do like nutrition and supplementation for you, yeah, but not the training itself.
That's different now. Hyason is fully taking over my training, supplements, and diet, everything. He's doing it all. Yes. And that's honestly, I think the missing link. I don't want to say, I'm not trying to make Tuna or Santi or anybody else out as they didn't do that, but I trained myself for those preps. But Hyason, he basically just sent me a 6-day or a 5-day split. And that's what I've been doing for the past 10 weeks. And nothing has changed. And honestly, it's the most boring workouts, but they work. I love them. But to the average person that works out, it's boring. They're not going to want to do what I'm doing, but it's working. And I'm getting good recovery and rest. And it's with my physique where it's at now, if I do high volume, I'm going to go flat and I'm going to look like skinny. I think. I don't even know what I'll look like. I'll just not be able to keep a pump and get full. So what he has me doing now, I don't go over, there's a few higher rep sets for volume, but I don't go over 10 reps or sometimes 12 to 15. So I'm staying in the lower rep ranges and I'm warming up, I'm doing a little feeder set and then I'm going working set. But with the heavier weights.
3 working sets?
Yeah, 2 to 3 working sets, sometimes 1. And it's just, that's what keeps me fuller without yeah.
How are your joints feeling?
Fine.
Doing the heavier weight, yeah.
I'll say I've done some dumb lifting in the past, and it's because I was just in the wrong environment. So I was doing some stupid heavy lifting, and I rack pulled 455, which was dumb. And ever since, it's just like my spine feels tight. Like it's
how long ago was that?
Probably close to a year now.
Yeah.
It's just like my spine gets tight. So all this is like, I feel old. Like I really can't get that spinal rotation, but that's a learning thing. I've learned from that. I roll out a lot. Like it just feels like my spine's compressed, and it decompress it. But anyway, so the training that I'm doing now is nowhere near as dumb as what I was doing before. It's actually probably the smartest thing I'm doing. And it's working. My joints feel great. My muscle bellies are full as can be. I was given a refeed last night of some sushi. And that's based off of all my training. I'm still strong. I'm not losing any strength. If anything, I'm getting stronger. My body weight's not really dropping as food's slightly getting pulled here and there. So I feel good with Hyason. Like I feel confident.
Awesome.
He's not blowing smoke up, he's not blowing smoke up me, but we have a realistic idea of where we're at, and we have a realistic idea of where we can be and what we can accomplish. So
awesome.
I really don't want to let him down at all.
Yeah. He's got a really good track record as a coach. I think you're going to do really well. Brings girls in super conditioned and awesome. So I'm excited for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Not that you've ever been really out of shape on stage, but I think you'll be next level. That's gonna be awesome.
I agree. I think like, so when I was competing, what I looked like at the Orlando Europe in 2017, I had a fuller look, and then I turned pro and I had a drier, more conditioned look, because that's what we were going for turning pro. But I feel like now I'm gonna bring both. I'm gonna be full and peeled and dry and all that. So I'm excited to see.
Yeah, you'll be denser and just more size to you already. So yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I'm excited. You're posing too. You mentioned about the more masculine style of posing. I remember like early on, like people getting on you for like hitting the most muscular. and stuff. Like, it's crazy. I love that you hit the most muscular pose. Bev Francis hit the most muscular pose. Why can't you hit the most muscular pose? You know?
Who knows? I'm going to. Not on pre-judging, but in the finals, have a nice show.
And I love, because during your posing, like, you'll hit some, you know, you're posing very traditionally, like in a male style, but then when you hit like a feminine pose, like the side chest, the female, the women's physique side chest, it hits like a moment where you go, ah, like, I don't know, it's like it changed the flavor, you know. So I like that personally.
So like that comes from the wrestling. That's like, it's almost like a character. Like I go from like the classical, that's classical, but then I bring out the queen. And then I hit, so that's why the classical queen, you know?
I love it. Yeah. So do you have a plan beyond the New York Pro?
Olympia.
Perfect.
That's all.
Okay.
I've put myself in a position where I'm 8 hours away from the New York Pro, and I'll be 6 hours away from the Olympia. So there's a reason why I'm where I'm at now. So I have one egg and no basket. Actually, I don't even have an egg or a basket. I'm just
That's awesome. Is there anything that you want to say to like fans of yours? Any message that you have? Or
I just want to say that I'm back. I'm back and I'm ready to show everyone what I really am capable of. And I also want to say thank you for everybody's support all throughout the years, throughout the highs, throughout the lows. Everyone's been there for me. And honestly, I wouldn't be able to be where I am without y'all, without you, Michael, without everyone's comments just throughout when I was younger, you know, getting into it. And even till now, everyone keeps me going. So without y'all, I couldn't do it, straight up. And I want to say a big shout out to my supplement sponsor, Anova Farm. They've had my back since 2017, really. They didn't sponsor me, but they sponsored me after I turned pro in 2018. But they've been nothing but the best. And it's not about just supplements or getting this from that. They've just been there for me in every occasion and situation, just like my parents have. So they have a lot to do with what I'm becoming. So I want to say shout out to Anova and thank you.
Awesome. In terms of the New York Pro, what do you have feelings of nervousness at all stepping on the pro stage, or excitement, or what does it do for you to know that that's coming up?
It's more excitement because, like I told you, I'm going down south to where I'm not going up to New York. Maybe if I was going up to New York, that might get a little bit out of my comfort zone and I may become nervous and stuff. But excuse me, I'm going down to Tampa where I know the area. Like I know where the gyms are. I know where the hotels are. I don't know necessarily where the venue's at yet, but I just know the area. My brother lives 30 minutes from the venue. I'm gonna know everyone down. I'm just gonna be back in my
zone.
That's just my thing, and I can't wait. Honestly, I'm trying to remain patient and just do what I got to do now for that end in 8 weeks to just be a vacation, so to say.
Right. Talking about Bev Francis, I mentioned before, are there any female bodybuilders that you have been influenced by at all, or is it almost all males?
I love Juliet Bergman, just because I kind of feel like that's who I kind of look like in a sense, like hair color, skin tone, shape, how we pose. So I have mimicked some of her posing, and I do love Bev because she hits those most muscular, and she hits the harder poses, the lat spreads and the tilted biceps.
Yeah.
And that's something that you don't technically see too much from the women's side. So I like Juliet for her more classical look. And then even when she did put some size on at the Olympian, got a little bit bigger, I love that look too. But I love Bev too, because she's not humongous, but I feel like I resemble her again.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, it's interesting because you say she's not humongous, because during her day, she was humongous. Like she was the sort of like a Dorian Yates, and that changed the size of what was the standard. In fact, she was actually used to be told to get smaller, which she did, but she was still big for her time period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all look good back in the day. Linda Murray.
Yeah.
She was look good too.
Were you influenced at all, or even really following Juliana Malacarne when she was the champ of women's physique?
I didn't necessarily follow her because that was kind of when I was getting into it, and like DLB was big, and Danny Reardon was big, and maybe I was just so young at the time that it was like I was looking at maybe what was more right above me versus, because Juliana was a little older. So yeah. I think I was just looking at the younger women, and I need to be like Danny, or I need to be like DLB type deal. But Juliana, I almost feel like maybe Juliana was almost like, I can't ever look like that type in my head. I don't know. I never, again, it's just, I wasn't too involved or engaged with the women's side.
Right. How about now? Like, are you any more so, or no? Really? No. Did you watch?
I didn't watch the Olympia. I really don't watch shows. Maybe it sounds bad, but I don't.
Harley is awesome.
She's mad. She's like, you're lying.
Pay attention to me.
I don't watch shows. If I can go to shows, that's cool. But if anything, I'll just catch the highlights from Instagram, because that's really the most important aspect. That's what's important, is whatever's on Instagram. So if Rachel Daniels or someone women's wise pops up on my feed, it's because they're doing something legit. So I'm like, okay, that's what I need to watch for, or something like that. But again, it's whatever. They're doing good, and I'll congratulate them, but it's going to be my time sooner than later.
Yes. That's awesome. A great attitude to have, you know. You can't worry about other people anyway. You can only worry about yourself. And
as long as I make it to the stage, that's really all I can ask for. Yes. So you know, but yeah, so as long as I get to the stage and I'm doing what I'm doing now, and what I've been doing for honestly the past year and a half, which I've not been missing a beat as far as food and training, I'll be okay. I think I'm going to be okay. And all I can ask for is just making it to the stage and being there, and mentally being there, you know? So I don't want to just be there. I want to wholesomely be there.
Yeah. I think, you know, just if you're there and you're in shape, and I know you're going to be, because you're already looking amazing. Mm-hmm. Just be in the moment, enjoy it, and you're going to go as far as you can go. And that's what's going to be awesome to see.
Yeah, for sure.
Alyssa, thanks for talking to me today. Thanks for being a part of this. It was a pleasure. So this was Michael Bryson and Alyssa Kiessling. This is Bodybuilding, and we'll be back with more to come in the future. Take care. Oh man, I don't know how to end this recording. Okay, hold on. Okay. So we're back real fast for a little sneak peek at the condition that Alyssa is in right now, 8 weeks out from the New York Pro. Damn. Very impressive.
Yeah, I just ate, so I'm a little full right now. But
give me a bicep shot. Awesome. You got a very complete arm, cramping. Very complete arms. But your arms remind me of Lee Priest.
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah.
You got the forearms, biceps, triceps, everything.
It's complete, and it's got that too. This muscle right here.
Yeah, what is that thing?
The elbow muscle.
Yeah.
I call it my swellbow.
Wait, give me like a forearm pose, just a forearm. Yeah, very, very awesome.
Like, even when I don't flex my bicep, like this was like the what do you call it? The crucifix pose.
Yeah, Mike Menser type of thing.
But yeah, I'm pretty lean right now, man.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm excited. It's gonna be great. Woo. All right, thanks for doing that, Alyssa.
Thank you, Michael.
All right, we'll talk.